Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, 1,500 employees to head back to work as mega resort Baha eyes reopening next month. The Prime Minister responds to criticism over hotels and beaches during weekend lockdowns. Plus, a man goes free after being in prison for 9 years for manslaughter.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Topping news tonight, 1,500 employees are set to return to work next month as Baha begins its phased reopening. After being shut for nearly 8 months, Resort President Graham Davis says Baha's reopening follows careful planning. The Grand Hyatt will reopen in December, but with frequent COVID-19 testing for guests and employees.
Welcome to the Baha Resort.
Following an 8-month closure, Mega Resort Baha will welcome guests once again and bring 1,500 of its employees back to work. Bookings are open for the Grand Hyatt beginning December 17th, which Baha President Graham Davis says is the start of a phased reopening.
And that commitment is ensuring that we do testing of all of our guests upon arrival with a rapid antigen test, ensuring that our associates are all tested prior to returning to work, and then, of course, weekly testing. We've invested a significant amount of money in sanitizing equipment.
The resort will operate in a bubble system of sorts, but employees will go home daily and be subject to COVID-19 testing weekly. And if a guest rapid antigen tests positive while at the resort, they will then take an RT-PCR test. If that comes back positive, they will have 2 options.
They purchased a travel insurance, which is the $40 travel insurance up to 4 nights. If they stay beyond that, the $60 insurance plan is included in their health visa application. They'll be able to utilize that insurance plan to help pay for a quarantine in their rooms for 14 nights. Or they'll also, if they have underlying conditions, they'll be able to be medevaced out. And certainly not putting the burden here in the Bahamian health system. The
Rosewood and SLS are scheduled to reopen around February. The casino, some restaurants and other amenities are set to reopen in December as well, but only for registered guests. That means locals not staying at the resort won't get to enjoy Baha's amenities for now.
We want to be careful, open safely to start with, and work on establishing those protocols to allow the local community to come in and dine with us as well and enjoy the retail facilities and Baha. But certainly to start with, staying overnight so we can make sure you're staying on property, that you have tested, that you are using the protocols in place that we have established for our guests and for our associates.
As for employees, after paying out more than $50 million in ex-gratia payments while the resort remained closed, Davis says it's good to finally welcome some of them back.
So we're excited to have over 1,500 associates coming back to work here, and we'll be calling them up here very soon. We ask our associates to be patient with us while we get our schedules ready and determine who will be coming back. But we're excited for those associates to stay loyal to us and create that exceptional experience for all of our guests and other associates as well.
Well, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is defending his decision to allow hotels to apply for exemptions from beach closures. Minnis also revealed the Ministry of Health is reviewing data today and he will address the nation on the way forward by Sunday. Here's Jared Higgs.
Speaking at an event for the Bahamas Feeding Network, Dr. Minnis was asked about the weekend lockdowns and how he respond to criticism that it's unfair for Bahamians to not be able to go to the beach while tourists can.
Listen very carefully to what he said. The beaches are open. I also said earlier that the Ministry of Health, they are reviewing data today. I would speak to them this evening, if not by tomorrow. And I will address the nation sometime between now and Sunday as to the way forward.
Tourism Minister Dionisio Diagler announced on Saturday that hotels near beaches will be able to apply for exemptions from future beach closures for their guests, citing the overwhelming importance of beach activities to visitors to the country. However, while the question put to Minnis had to do with tourists being exempted from restrictions, the Prime Minister alluded to hotels requiring negative COVID-19 tests in order to allow outsiders in.
Would it not be fair that all individuals who are in the hotel, they would have had a PCR test, a negative test, before they entered the hotel? would it not be fair for individuals who likewise want to utilize the facilities should likewise have a PCR? So that's all you're asking. So Bahamian or anybody meet such criteria, they can utilize such facility.
Minister's comments come as government reopened the tourism sector. On Sunday, the mandatory 14-day quarantine for travelers was scrapped, along with the need for a rapid antigen test upon arrival. Ministers also asked whether decreased cases would mean an end to full weekend lockdowns.
What I would ask is that if everybody remain compliant and cooperative in terms of the mitigation processes or protocols that are put in place, if we were to do that, then the numbers would continue to come down and maybe we can have a good Christmas moving forward.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
News that Baha will be reopening next month is encouraging, according to Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest, who said the fact that 2 major resorts will welcome back guests in a matter of weeks bodes well for the economy. Jasmine Brown has more.
The Deputy Prime Minister says with the tourism industry continuing to flounder, the fact that another major resort is set to reopen next month means a lot for the economy.
We're certainly very excited to hear that they are going to open before the end of the year.
Bahamar's plans for a phased reopening beginning December 17th was revealed in a letter Bahamar President Graham Davis sent to staff. Davis said the resort will bring back 1,500 associates during the first phase. It comes as Atlantis prepares to welcome back guests in a bubble environment on December 1st. Turnquest says the Minister's administration is hopeful the economy will get a much-needed boost.
We are very hopeful that we will have a successful launch of these hotels openings and that we will be able to quickly escalate the arrivals so that we can return to some level of production from that sector, which has been obviously seriously hurt as a result of this COVID-19.
The tourism sector reopened on November 1st. The first reopening, which took place on July 1st, was followed by a spike in COVID-19 cases on Grand Bahama and New Providence. Turnquest says the delays have no doubt been a blow to the country's bottom line.
As you know, we've projected in our budget that we would have tourism open at the end of September, which was delayed, and we were hoping that it was done by 1st of October. Unfortunately, it slipped. The signs of the economic challenges as a result of those hotels not being open is evident. Right down here at Bay Street, in all of the straw markets and all of the other areas where tourists would transit and bring economic opportunity, are obviously suffering.
Central bank officials said earlier this week that the country's #1 industry will not see a full recovery until 2023. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Last-minute changes to travel requirements, particularly the decision to eliminate the rapid antigen test upon arrival in the country, is raising red flags for the Consulting Physician Staff Association president, who said it could be risky for the Bahamas. Georgia Bain reports.
President of the Consultant Physician Staff Association, Dr. Sabrika Pinder-Butler, stating that the union is fearful of what newly implemented travel protocols could mean for the healthcare system. According to Pinder-Butler, they cannot support the travel protocols in their current state. Pinder-Butler asserted that with the removal of the 14-day quarantine, it was the CPSA's hope that appropriate testing protocols would have been put in place, in addition to more vigorous contact tracing. However, she said it seems that their recommendations have fallen on deaf ears.
The timeline with which they might have had the tests can vary, but can be up to at least 5 days. So certainly if we don't have another test happening, which could in some instances be another 10 days after, and we would have these persons in country and not aware of their status, not necessarily perhaps aware of who they're in contact with, it can be a bit risky for us.
On Saturday, Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar announced that the proposal for a rapid antigen test upon arrival had been scrapped, along with the 14-day quarantine. On Tuesday, he admitted that the mandatory 5-day testing could be bumpy at first. The CPSA president fears that those in the tourism industry will be at a higher risk as the status of many visitors will remain unknown for days.
Not knowing someone's status or what that risk could mean to persons who are interacting with them would be extremely important and of a concern.
She also shared these concerns about visitor contact tracing.
Certainly, we know that in other countries that perhaps don't have testing in place, but they have travel bubbles, and some of them still have quarantine for that same reason, so that they're able to identify where persons are moving. They know who they would be in contact with, so that should anything happen, they're able to mitigate further spread of COVID.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
The health minister's declaration of a rapid decline in COVID-19 cases in the Bahamas was met with skepticism by opposition leader Philip Davis, who called on the government to ramp up COVID-19 testing. He spoke with Julian Gray.
One day after Health Minister Renward Wells touted the rapid decline in COVID-19 cases, opposition leader Philip Davis is not buying the narrative that the government has successfully battled COVID-19. Davis said he feels it is COVID testing that has taken a dive.
It's very interesting that cases are down. Well, if you're not, first of all, we must recognize that this virus is an invisible enemy. The only way you could make it visible is through testing. So if you're not testing, you will not know.
Wells said the positivity rate dropped from 32% to 12% over the weekend, but by Monday, the Ministry of Health dashboard showed a 22% positivity rate.
The Bahamas has been undercounting their cases, and they will continue to do that as long as they don't have in place an aggressive testing regime.
The opposition leader added the Bahamas does not seem to have coronavirus transmission under control and will not until workers and visitors are tested regularly. He also took a jab at the government's surprise decision to scrap rapid antigen testing of travelers upon arrival in the country. He questioned whether the Minnis administration learned its lesson after the July 1st reopening of borders.
The government initiated a policy where Bahamians could have traveled to Florida for 72 hours and come back without testing. No doubt, some of what we have witnessed since July 1st could be directly attributed to that policy, which is failed. If you're going to now introduce a policy where persons could come from the United States, for example, where the virus is still out of control, and they could come here without testing, what do you think is going to happen?
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
More news on the way, but here's a first look at weather with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather, brought to you tonight by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us. Outside our studios, still breezy and mostly cloudy with just a few sprinkles outside our studios. Your winds are still a very stiff 15 knots. They're out of the northeast. Feels like temperature around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Around the islands, lots of moisture across the area. Front boundary parked across the central Bahamas. That will continue to provide the unsettled weather across our area tonight through tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, a man convicted of manslaughter goes free after 9 years in prison. Plus, should Eleuthera go on full lockdown? Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. The Court of Appeal freed a man who spent 9 years behind bars for manslaughter. However, his lawyer says he never should have been charged. Jared Higgs has a story.
A 9-year saga comes to a close for a man once accused of murdering 3 people in an apartment slaying.
The Court of Appeal agreed that the evidence was insufficient.
According to his attorney, Christina Galanos, Sean Knowles was convicted of manslaughter in 2016 for the July 30th, 2011 killings of Erica Ward, who was 8 months pregnant, Edward Brainan, and Shakara Raming. The trio was found gunned down in a one-bedroom apartment on Montgomery Avenue. Days later, a 39-year-old Knowles and 32-year-old Timothy Saunders were charged with murder.
In order to convict someone of murder, you have to be 12-0, unanimous.
Knowles' jury was 8-4 on murder and convicted him of manslaughter instead. At the time, he vehemently proclaimed his innocence.
When I started representing him, there was a sense of hopelessness.
But the Court of Appeal overturned his manslaughter conviction, citing a lack of evidence. It ruled that the jury should never have considered manslaughter because there was no proper verdict on the murder charge. Benjamin Raming, whose sister Shakara is one of the victims, spoke with me over the phone. He says he's heartbroken by the outcome.
First of all, I'm upset and I'm devastated because I feel that my sister needs justice. She left 6 kids in this world, basically, and I feel it's not fair for them to live without a mother.
However, Knowles' attorney says an injustice has been corrected.
There was simply no evidence. And I'm surprised as defense counsel that a matter such as this made it to the Court of Appeal when really and truly he ought not to have been charged in 2011.
The Court of Appeal's ruling prevents prosecutors from retrying Knowles. Galano says with her client spending 9 years behind bars and the victim's family still pursuing justice, there are no winners in this situation. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Central and South Eleuthera MP Hank Johnson is calling for a full lockdown of Eleuthera as COVID-19 cases on the island approach double digits. 3 new cases were confirmed on Eleuthera, bringing the total to 91. Johnson shared his concerns during a virtual town hall meeting.
Eleutherians are looking for a lockdown. There were 3 persons who objected to it. This is what I found out. 3 objected. And the rest of those individuals in that meeting is asking for a lockdown. Because many of them in the meeting have lost loved ones. And there are a lot of them who now have family members who are sick. And there are some presently are fighting for their lives. And so in my constituency, persons are afraid. And right now, it is time for action. I support a total lockdown.
When Our News comes back from the break, a grocery store chain pledges $100,000 to feed those in need. Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
A grocery store chain has pledged $100,000 to the Bahamas Food Distribution Task Force. SuperValue owner Rupert Roberts says massive job losses have caused food insecurity. He is encouraging others to donate.
The reason we're here is that you can also donate the next time you visit any SuperValue or Quality Market or any food store in New Providence. When you make a donation at the checkout, you help thousands of families receive the parcels every 2 weeks. No amount is too small. Give generously.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis thanked the grocery store for its generosity. He says it will go a long way in assisting government as it seeks to feed Bahamians in need.
And of course, as one loses their jobs, obviously there's difficulty in feeding themselves. And the government, with the assistance of Network and a task force, has made a determination that there would be no Bahamian who during this pandemic would go hungry.
Senior police officers on Grand Bahama are arming parents on the island with tips on how to keep their children safe while at home during the pandemic. Head of the Sexual Offenses Unit, Inspector Latoya Major Roll, warned parents against getting so busy that they neglect their children, as this often leads to issues.
In some instances, children run away from the home and the parents can't even provide simple information to the police regarding their children's friends, their associates, or their hangout. When a child feels that they are being neglected, they sometimes are persuaded through peer pressure and finds themselves on the wrong side of the law.
Building relationships with your children, displaying a welcoming spirit, and talking to children about sex are among her top tips.
As parents, we sometimes neglect our duties to talk openly to our children about the facts of life. Sex education, for some reason, is always the most challenging topic for a parent to discuss. But this is indeed vital, as children of all ages are victims of various sexual assaults.
And that does it for this portion of news. Find out what's happening in the world of sports after this.
We share our stories because
there is power in every story.
There is hope in every story.
There is healing in every story.
Our stories will inspire you.
They will change you. They will empower you. Because there is freedom in every story.
Join me, Erlene Camille, and my guest every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. for powerful, revealing, life-changing stories. Journey TV. We share life's truths.
In sports, Bahamian Major League Baseball player Jazz Chisholm shares his playoff experience and hopes for next season. Marcellus Hall reports.
The 2020 Major League Baseball season saw the Bahamas issuing in its first Major League Baseball player in just about over a decade, Jazz Chisholm, making his debut with the Miami Marlins. Now for Jazz, he not only got to play in the regular season, but a chance to also play in the postseason. He talked to us recently about that and his expectations going into next year. Bahamian Major League Baseball player Jazz Chisholm, fresh off of his first Major League Baseball season with the Miami Marlins, talk about his first playoff experience and what it felt like stepping onto the field as a Bahamian and as a Major League Baseball player.
It's no better opportunity than to play in the playoffs. You know, like that's what everybody dreams about doing, going to the World Series, doing all that stuff. So, I mean, it was amazing to get that opportunity and, you know, do something with it, you know.
For Jazz, the experience was surreal. He says he has not heard from management as of yet as to returning to next season, but he's going to work hard and continue to be prepared for whatever comes.
No, not really, but, you know, I'm going to just keep on pushing and grinding every day, working hard every day to get a job up there next year by opening day, you know.
And if you want, you can hear the full interview with Jazz Chisholm coming up for you on Friday at 6:30 on our edition of The Locker Room. Fridays at 6:30 right here on our TV. Meanwhile, reporting for Our News, I'm Marcellus Hall.
And that's a look at news. We throw it back to meteorologist Greg Thompson for the extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Kyle. In our second look at weather, being brought to you tonight by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us. Look at our satellite picture around the area. Stalled out front boundary across the central Bahamas, providing quite a bit of moisture across our area. That combined with what is Tropical Storm Ada is still out there in the Western Caribbean. That's expected to lift towards the north. We will continue to watch the system as it's expected to move in our area. Your boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow: northeast to east 20 to 30 knot winds. Seas very rough 8 to 12 feet. While in the southeast Bahamas, we expect those winds to be easterly 15 to 25 knots, 6 to 9 foot seas expected. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Monday.
First, it's more than just our name, more than just our achievements. It's our nature, and it's where we put our customers. At Bahamas First, we've refreshed our look, but our nature remains the same. We design insurance solutions that protect our customers from life's uncertainties, whatever they may be. We equip you for the future so that you can recover stronger. Bahamas first. What's first for you comes first for us.
That's a look at our weather. Make it a great night, everyone.
And now your Royal Fidelity Market Recap takes a look at today's markets.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by Royal Fidelity, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Well, thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. We will see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a good one this evening, Bahamas.